I hope those didn't spill.
Hello. This is Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you from Chicago. As usual, I am joined by Dereck Wyatt, who's dealing with his little munchkin right now. We've got some testimony on a good case today. Say hello, Dereck.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing just fantastic.
We might have others join us. Dereck was here. Arty stopped in briefly, but he looked to be on the commute on the way home. And Deborah Davis said that she was going to stop by, but I'm not sure. I haven't heard from her in a while, so we'll see.
Let me do this. My dog is barking downstairs.
Okay.
Let me go check to see what he's a 100-pound Doberman. You know what I mean?
All right.
So can't just let him bark.
Go do what you do. What you gotta do. Hello. You're on Law Talk with Mike. It's pretty cool, isn't it? All right. So I think Arty is gonna stop back in, and Deborah was supposed to be here, but like I said, I haven't heard from her recently. So maybe she's just finishing up and she'll stop by. Maybe she won't. We've got a good clip from this.
I see your picture on my TV.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. No. On this computer.
Yeah. Well, you're on TV. Can you say hi to everybody? Are you a law nerd? Do you think you might be a law nerd?
I'm not a law nerd.
Oh, we might have to get you a law nerd T-shirt. That would make you the coolest kid in school by a wide margin.
I don't have
Mama. Okay. Are you on the show, sweetheart?
Oh yeah. She's been doing awesome.
Oh, cool. All right. Can Daddy sit down?
No. Yes. No. Yes.
Did you give a lot of legal commentary?
I told her I'd get her a law nerd T-shirt.
Oh
yeah. It's good stuff. All right, let's get this party started here, and we'll get into it. This is our Nevada judges, Hillygus v. Handte. You and I already did one on this, and here's another witness. Wait. Let's do this. Go.
I would note that if these were certified copies, we would not have to go through this process, Your Honor.
I would note that a number of them are certified. As a matter of fact.
Your Honor, if Mr. Stagey is making a representation to this court that a number of those documents are certified, I challenge him to show us that right now.
Well, I don't want to engage in this.
No, he made a representation as an officer of the court, as an agent of the state of Nevada, that those are certified records. They are not.
Hey, agreement.
Where's the rest of them?
Counsel.
That's one. Where's the other three, Mr. Stagey?
Mr. Evanson.
Sorry.
And Mr. Stagey.
Well, that was just like his little teaser, but you can see how cranky the prosecutor is about this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what he did is he said none of these are certified, whatever that is. I don't even know what the documents are. And the prosecutor had one of four, but it was certified, and he didn't want to be called a liar. So, all right, here we go. Let's get to they call a police officer.
This is the state of Nevada versus two defendants. The state of Nevada versus Roger Eugene Hillygus and Stuart Handte. Case number RCR 2019-103468. Counsel, please state your name for the record.
Your Honor, Steve Evanson for Mr. Hillygus, who's seated to my left.
Your Honor, Tom Pataro and Kendall Stone for Stuart Handte, who's off to the left of the back there.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Amy Stagey for the state of Nevada.
Good morning. So, counsel, this is the date and time set for the preliminary hearing. And before we begin, I understand this morning there was filed a 5th amended criminal complaint. So let's go forward with the arraignment on that. Mr. Stagey, who is your first witness you'd like to call?
Alderman Miller, please.
All right. Good morning. If you please proceed to the witness stand. Once you get there, I will swear you in.
Thank you.
Mr. Will you please raise your right hand? testimony you're about to provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I remain seated for my examination?
Certainly.
Thank you. Please state and spell your name.
Oliver Miller, O-L-I-V-E-R, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R,
How are you currently employed?
by the Reno Police Department,
In what capacity?
and the Deputy Chief of the Community Services Division,
And how long have you been with the Reno Police Department?
18 years.
I'd like to direct your attention back to July 29th, 2019. Did you have occasion to speak with someone identified as Roger Hillygus?
I did. May I remove this while I speak?
So there is a mandate in place that we need to wear masks in the courtroom. It is a public setting, so we're following the governor's mandate.
No worries. Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry, if you need time or just lean forward to speak more loudly, that's totally understandable.
Yes, ma'am.
How was it that you came into contact or had a phone conversation with Roger Hillygus?
On or around July 29th, Mr. Hillygus had called into our executive team's pool and tried to reach Chief Soto. I was advised by...
Your Honor, I'm going to object. That appears to be hearsay testimony unless he directly took the call and talked directly to my client. It appears as if he's speaking from administrative records.
Mr. Stady?
I don't believe that's speaking for administrative records. I think he's speaking non-hearsay in that it's not admitted for the truth of the matter, but explaining that he called back or why he had a subsequent conversation with Hillygus.
So given that it's not for the truth of the matter and it's from this own witness's personal knowledge, I'll overrule the objection.
I received notification from our administrative secretary that Mr. Hillygus had contacted and left a message for Chief Soto. Chief Soto was out of the office, so I returned the call on his behalf.
And please describe the conversation.
I spoke with Mr. Hillygus, and he informed me that he was seeking to speak with...
Hello, hello, hello. Dereck, this is Deborah Davis. Deborah Davis, this is Dereck Wyatt.
Hi,
Dereck,
Deborah.
nice to meet you. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you doing?
You're in the car?
It's the 5:09 leaving workplace hour, so 5:12 now. So I didn't want to miss you. I did not check my phone during the work hour. So look at that. I'm being a good employee.
Oh.
So I was like, is it okay to stream and drive? I guess if I just don't look at you guys and I watch the road, I should be okay.
And you
I'll
have
be
to
home
quote.
in about 10 minutes. So
All right,
then I can
just
stop.
deal with it. Pop. You can either do that or just pop back on if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, am I supposed to be watching something with you, or are we?
Yeah,
just
you're supposed to be watching
conversing
something,
right
but whatever. You can't right now. So yeah, just
now?
go
Right,
home. I
let's
didn't know
not
that.
get in an accident. Just go home. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't look at my phone, and I should
Stop driving a car.
So I told you to stop driving a car. I was with Judge all afternoon too, so it was fun.
Oh.
As always.
I
So,
got
yes,
a nugget
I
from
will-
3B. I'm going to use tomorrow, but I can't ask you to talk about it.
Oh,
You weren't there.
I
You weren't there. Don't worry
can't.
about it.
Thankfully, good. I mean, nothing has been terribly interesting as far as that goes, which is good. That's good news. So I'm excited to hear what kind of information you have. It's always surprising what comes up with people.
Well, you'll just have to stay tuned. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Yes, I'll talk to you guys in a few.
All right. All right. So this is interesting. I actually wanted to ask you about this. This is a preliminary hearing, okay? And we talked about this before, and they're charged with kidnapping. Is this normal to take this kind of time? I mean, this goes on and on. I cut it down to one witness and everything here, but this is like they're taking days with a preliminary hearing.
Yeah, that kind of seems overdone. No,
I mean, all you're trying to do is get a probable cause finding out of this.
I've never even heard of that taking days on a preliminary hearing.
And you can see how chippy it is. Like that first objection, he says hearsay, which I get it. The judge properly overruled it, but it was close. You could make the objection, but I'm like, really? We're gonna do a hearsay objection on the fact that the defendant called the police station because he did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
This is like
the attorneys
like-
are agitated at each other, so they're just throwing stuff out there to be difficult.
yeah.
With Chief Soto about assisting him in aiding him in getting his mother out of a local care facility.
At the time, did you know what facility, or did he reference which facility?
He did not.
Please continue.
I spoke with him and got some of the details. He informed me that he was awarded a jury verdict for being the executor of his mother's estate, and that he wanted to retrieve her from that care facility.
That strikes me as odd too, right there. I'm actually going to have my probate guru. I'm going to do one on Saturday, I think, with my probate expert, because a lot of that gets down to that: who has capacity to do what.
Right.
But he's talking about, he handed me a jury verdict that he's named administrator of the estate. I don't do that, but I would be shocked if you're having a jury trial over who should be named administrator of the estate.
I don't know what their laws are in Nevada, but that would kind of shock me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like it could be. I suppose you could do that, but I mean, here I just deal with a lot with wrongful death cases and stuff. There are no juries going on in probate. It's judges figuring that stuff out.
Right.
So that's why it just strikes me as odd.
And during our conversation, I was trying to get more details about which care facility it was, but I wasn't able to get that far with him. He also informed me that he had been trespassed from the property within the past year, and that he was unaware of the trespass was still in effect. Based on that, I let him know that it was a civil matter, and that the Reno Police Department nor Chief Soto could assist him in retrieving his mother from the care facility and taking her out of their care and custody, that he would have to contact management, begin there, and probably work through the civil process by hiring an attorney.
Did he mention the name of Sheriff Darren Balaam during your conversation?
He did. He wanted to have myself, Chief Soto, Sheriff Darren Balaam go down there to effect some type of civil arrest against the individuals that were holding his mother in the care facility, as well as a show of solidarity.
And in fact, did he use the term citizen's arrest, that a citizen's arrest occur against the personnel at the facility?
He did.
Please continue.
I let him know that, we had no authority to remove an elderly person from a care facility, and again, reiterated that, we needed to contact management there to not go there in person, just in case his trespass was still in effect, and to hire a civil attorney. He also mentions Mr. Stu Handte, and that how he had agreed to already assist him through this process by going down there in person to getting his mother, Susan Hillygus, out.
And to clarify, you mean that Hillygus mentioned that Handte had already agreed to help him out in this process? Was that name familiar to you, Stu Handte?
It was.
And in what way or how?
He was a former chief of police for the Reno Sparks Indian Colony.
So you knew Mr. Handte in sort of a professional capacity?
I did.
So we left out, you warned him, hey, to get a civil attorney, and warned him against trying to remove his mother. Is that accurate?
I did.
Did you give any warnings about the trespass issue, if that was still valid?
I did, and that's why I told him to contact the management.
I'm gonna have the objection of these guys are boring me to tears. I'd rather chew tinfoil right now. What are these guys doing? He's trying to lay some kind of predicate, but let's go. You know what I mean?
I can't believe, like, right now that they've said enough. He's just trying to establish that you don't have authority to take this this woman from the facility. They go on and on.
Via phone instead
I
of
think
going
he's
in
bad.
person.
If you're around long
Did
enough,
he ultimately
listen,
agree that he would, in fact, call the manager of the facility and update them on the status of, or his claim?
He did.
Did he further agree that he would obtain an attorney if the facility was not able or willing to assist him?
Your Honor, I have to object to leading questions at this point.
Mr. Shaggy?
I'll ask it in a leading fashion.
All right.
Did Mr. Hillygus make any statements about whether he would get an attorney in the future?
He did.
Recall what he said.
It was near the end of our phone call, and he agreed, yeah, I will look into getting an attorney to assist me through this process, something to that effect.
Let's move forward to the next contact with either Hillygus or Handte, and we'll talk about August 7th. Can you tell us about what occurred on that date?
On August 7th, I had a conversation with Mr. Handte. He had reached out to our executive pool secretary, and she contacted me, and I was aware of the issue that Mr. Hillygus had, and I agreed to contact Mr. Handte because I knew about the circumstances.
Can you describe the contents of that conversation, please?
Yeah. Mr. Handte wanted to get assistance from the Reno Police Department, in particular Chief Soto, to go down to Mr. Hillygus' mother's care facility to assist him in removing her from the care facility. Mr. Handte relayed to me that Mr. Hillygus was awarded a civil jury verdict, essentially awarding him custody and care of his mother.
And so was Mr. Handte?
I mean, this is kind of strange. So he says he knows this guy in a professional capacity, Handte, who was the former police officer. Isn't there some sort of influence problem here with him? Like he's walking around, he's trying to feel it out and say, hey, can I get authority? Can I go help? Can I do all these things? And he's using the fact that he was a police officer.
Yeah, in Texas they might call that, you're under color of office. You're making assertions that may or may not be true.
Yeah, that's which is interesting because these guys are sort of sovereign citizens, and that's the phrase they like to use. But it's exactly what he's doing here.
Or if he's not a police officer, you might get impersonating a public servant.
Well, I think he's retired police officer. But yeah, that's what he's doing. He's going around to his old contacts and saying, basically, we're gonna take this woman out of there, and I want to get my people in place so that I want to grease the skids for it. That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's essentially making the same claims or similar claims.
Kidnapping, you know what I mean? Already, if the guy's a police officer, and if he's going around trying to marshal his resources and using his connection, I mean, they're starting to prove up the kidnapping.
Yeah.
That you had heard from Mr. Hillygus.
He was.
Please continue.
During our conversation, I informed Mr. Handte that, I was a little more than concerned with Mr. Hillygus attempting to remove his mother from the care facility, and I informed him that what also concerned me is that he wanted to effect citizens' arrests on some of the staff members there. I informed him of what I informed Mr. Hillygus, that we as law enforcement could not remove an elderly person from the care and custody of a care facility, and that it was a civil matter, and that he would have to hire an attorney to help him work through that civil process.
Did Mr. Handte relate anything in his own background that caused him to want to assist Mr. Hillygus?
He did. He said his own mother was held by a care facility kind of in the same manner prior to her death, and that this was the reason he wanted to assist her through this process.
What was Mr. Handte's reaction to your assertion that the case ought to be handled in a civil manner?
He really wanted to help out Mr. Hillygus, who I assumed was his friend, because of the close circumstances. But ultimately, he agreed that he would talk to Mr. Hillygus about the recommendations I made to him.
Did you mention to Mr. Handte Mr. Hillygus' assertion about having been trespassed?
I did.
Did Mr. Handte ask anything else about related to sort of professional matters?
He did tell me that he was interested in seeking another job in law enforcement. And I told him that if he was, and if that was the plan.
All right, we get the point. There are two defense lawyers here, but I want your take on one of those. And I don't want to use up all your time here. They prattle on like that. Basically, they establish that these guys were going to get this woman out because later they do. The woman in the nursing home is Hillygus' mother, and she has dementia, and she had an estate open, and there was an administrator of the estate, and he was not it. He was at one time, but he wasn't at the time he took her.
Okay.
That's the basis of it. Now, I actually, just because you do that, I want to see your take on what the defense attorney tries.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry, if you could just replace your mask. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I saw the direct, it just goes on like that, but they
Just a
roughly
few
establish.
questions for you there, Deputy Chief. Relative to the first phone call you received on July 29th of 2019, did you make a report when that call came in?
No, I didn't.
Did you take any notes you put on a computer or a notepad or anything like that?
I don't recall.
Okay. Not recalling would indicate it's possible. Did you ever seek or try to find out any of those notes as this case progressed?
I know that I often take notes in my role. I was a commander at the time, so I may have referred to notes in drafting my Chevron supplement.
Okay. And have those notes, to the best of your knowledge, been provided to the district attorney's office or to anybody to this date?
My Chevron report, my case report has, and no notes have been provided.
Okay. And so, and are those calls that come in, or is every call that comes in, because I don't know your agency as well as I do some others, are they recorded?
No.
Okay. So what distinguishes a call coming into your agency that's on a recorded line versus one that's not on a recorded line?
911 is a recorded line. Our dispatch, I believe, even the non-emergency lines are recorded, but none of the internal lines in the Laredo Police Department are recorded. And I think that comes down to a matter of need.
Sure, I understand, and I'm just asking because I honestly don't know, so forgive me. But with regards to the process of this call, do you know if it came in through dispatch and then went through to another line, or to your executive staff, as you put it?
I have no idea how it came through.
Okay, so it is possible that at the time it was recorded, but obviously, I imagine you don't hold on to recordings for over 2 years.
Yes, and if our dispatcher did pass a recorded phone call through.
I told you. They're making me crazy. I don't understand this process. Tell me about it. I'm gonna shorten this because I want to, maybe if you're around, you see a little bit of the other attorney as well, but they don't get better. The whole thing is they said, okay, you guys conspired to go take this woman, which they did, and they took her. That's clear.
Right.
The defense here, and tell me if I'm missing something. I think the defense is the police officer said I could.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. That's kind of what I'm thinking. He's exploring to see if any of this was recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and that to me is insane because legally the police officer cannot give you. If you're in a facility, whoever's the administrator of the estate, or whoever's in charge of that estate for this person, is the person who makes that call.
I will tell you this: as in Texas, there's a very, very, very obscure law that says if you rely on a position from somebody in authority or apparent authority, and you carry that act out and it doesn't hurt anyone, then you have an affirmative defense. So in other words, if I went to the governor and said, hey, can I fish in this restricted lake? And the governor said, sure, you can fish there. I go fishing there, and then I have, Fish and Wildlife or Parks and Wildlife or, Parks and Rec, whoever's coming after you. If they come after me and say, hey, you're not supposed to fish here. And I say, yeah, but I got approval by the governor. And I said, we don't care what the government says. There's a statute here. I've got an affirmative defense that I've relied on an official position.
That makes sense.
That's why people get attorney.
I don't know, but that's exactly the sort of theory that they're going towards here.
Yeah.
And I would have never thought of that. That's really interesting.
911, the recording would stop once the dispatcher hung up her or his side of the phone.
Okay, but if it came in on a non-emergency line to dispatch and then was ferreted out to whomever?
It still would, the recording would end once the dispatcher's phone portion, once they release the call to our internal number.
Okay, so that ends the moment that call is released, the recording stops,
Yes.
if any. Okay. And then, same question with regard to the phone call of August 7th, when you talked to Mr. Handte for the first time. Did you make notes on that? Did you make any written reports at that time?
I may have made notes for my written report, just noting that the time and date that I spoke with Mr. Handte.
Interpretive dance. Yeah. Here's what I'm thinking too. Reliance on an official position with somebody with authority or apparent authority may fly, it may not fly, but I can just anticipate he's setting up for a nullification here. Because I've taken those. Hey, I'm a police officer. I know what's going on. My mom is being mistreated. These people wouldn't help me out. I felt it was necessary to protect her life, to go get her, and I went and got her. Now, is that legal? Maybe, maybe not. But a jury might go, you know what? I had problems with my mother. This rings some bells with me. There's no way I'm going to convict this guy.
Yeah.
So why would you, I like that theory, but why would you try that at a preliminary hearing? That's something I would try to sell to a jury, not a judge. No way. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to ferret out evidence to see what he can lie about and what he can't.
Yeah, I guess, that's interesting too, because I guess it's sort of a big part of the discovery process in a criminal case, because you don't have like the depositions that we have on the civil end or whatever. So yeah, you could go kind of smack things around at the prelim. You're not gonna win it, but you can find out what you can find out.
Yeah, that's kind of seems like what's going on here.
Would that entail any details of the conversation?
I don't recall, not necessarily, but I do not recall. 2 years.
Your recollection of the phone call, all three of them, appear to be pretty detailed and specific, which is why I'm asking these questions. If you don't have a written report made at the time and you don't have the recordings to listen to, is there something about these calls that stuck out in your memory that way, or are we getting the perception after all of this took place?
So when I made my report, it was pretty close to the time that this incident had occurred. So the reason it sticks out in my mind so well is because of the level of request that he had. He actually wanted certain things like myself, Chief Soto, Sheriff Balaam going to the care facility to show solidarity. Those things happened within a week of my writing the report, so they were pretty fresh in my mind.
But so those things you remember, but in terms of the exact details of what my client was saying, you've been pretty clear you don't remember those kind of things.
No, I've been pretty clear. I don't remember if I took notes on them, but I recall exactly what he said to me.
And then with what took place on the 8th and the 9th, I just want to be clear. I don't believe you ever spoke to Roger after the 29th. Is that correct?
Mr. Roger Hillygus?
Yes.
I spoke with him on the 29th, and I believe on the 8th.
On the 8th?
Yes.
Okay. And I note multiple times within this, you call this a civil matter. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay. And multiple times within this, you told him to go into the civil court system to do what you felt he needed to do.
So I told him to hire an attorney to work through the civil process.
Correct. Do you know exactly what the civil process is?
I do not. That's why I hired an attorney.
Right. I understand that that's the advice, but you don't have any knowledge of the civil process to say he did anything wrong or right on the civil side of things, do you?
I can speak to the criminal process, not to the civil.
Correct. So you're not offering any comment about anything on the civil side of things?
That's correct.
Okay. And after your contact with my client on the 8th that you indicate, you didn't have any contact with him after that date, after the 9th, yourself?
I did not.
Okay. And when Roger was contacting you about these things, and then Mr. Handte said that he was concerned about this situation becoming like his mother's, it would appear from the nature of those conversations that my client and Mr. Handte were generally concerned about the welfare of Susan Hillygus within that facility. Is that a fair way of putting it?
No.
You don't think they were concerned about her welfare?
I think the concern was that he had a jury award for her custody and he wanted to execute that. I did not take away that he was concerned for her welfare inside the custody.
Well, let's assume that he got the jury verdict or whatever that he's talking about or that you're referring to. Let's assume that that was obtained by some method. Do you know what he said to obtain that? Do you know what was done to obtain that?
Objection, speculation.
Well, let me rephrase that. Do you know what the basis was for him obtaining that order?
No, he never told me.
Okay, did you ever ask?
No.
Okay, so it is possible then that he was motivated by a genuine concern about the welfare of his mother throughout this whole process.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stevenson. Speculation as well.
Well, I'm asking
what is possible is.
Question. Why is our judge letting this nonsense go on?
I don't know.
I would have shut this down a long time ago. This is kind of meaningless. All you're really doing is letting the defense attorney develop some impeachment material if he later goes to trial.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that's going on here.
Well, I mean, he gets into the like what's in their state of mind. Like, did they have good intentions? Who cares? Did they have legal capacity? No, it's clear they didn't have legal capacity. I don't really care, but it's clear they didn't have legal capacity, or they wouldn't be doing all this stuff.
Right.
If they thought if he was the administrator of the estate and had capacity, he'd walk in there and say, "I want her right now. Let's go."
Yeah, it would be an easy thing for a lawyer to go call up the probate court and get that resolved.
But since he didn't do that, then he tries to get his buddy who's a cop to pull his contacts and start playing shim sham and all this stuff.
Yeah. The other thing is, for people who are just joining, maybe they haven't had the benefit of seeing this defendant testify. I saw this defendant testify for a little bit, and so I know he's a complete nut bar. Therefore, I'm kind of discounting everything I'm seeing here. Do you know what I mean? Right. My client already, the defendant already told me who he is.
Yeah.
In our last podcast. So this here is just kind of laughable.
Yeah, I actually came into this with an open mind, but as I've seen it, I can see what's developing. What he wants is he wants control of his mother. His mother has dementia, at this point is gone. Okay. He wants control of his mother because he wants to keep sponging off her, is my theory. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think here's what's going on. If she stays there, the facility is going to drain her assets and use it to pay for the care. And he'd say, no, I'd prefer that I drain her assets, not the facility. And I understand that it's rational. And if you have capacity, then go for it. But he doesn't. The way to go about that is get a probate attorney to get you named administrator of the estate.
Yeah, I mean, this seems all ridiculous to me because if he actually had the capacity to get her, if he was legally entitled to get her, this would be a real easy matter for the old folks home and the probate court to hash out. This would not be hard.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a criminal case, but really it hinges on probate. That's what it is.
So
well, that's why I'm asking whether or not it's possible.
Okay, so he's not.
Here's the one.
Let me get to the start of this guy. I think you saw some of him
as well. Assuming it is not hearsay, which it is, it's entirely irrelevant, right? There is
to Hillygus.
I want to just get
that criminal matter did.
no get to ask a police officer, hey, do you mind if I go do this? Right? That's not how our system.
Did you
works.
see? You saw Thomas Pitaro in the last video we did.
If, say, an officer gives a
Yeah.
mistaken opinion about a law, that does not excuse you from criminal liability.
My response, of course, that has nothing to do with the question of what we're talking about. What we're talking about is in the conspiracy count, the state is alleging that these two gentlemen engaged in a conspiracy, and that conspiracy took place prior to them going out to this facility. So that's one. So the issue of their state of mind is important, and their state of mind, of course, exception to the hearsay, is based upon what they were told. Whether it was true or not doesn't matter. It goes to if they were told that, and that affects their state of mind as to conspiracy. It also has the effect as to the burglary, because the burglary is alleging the same thing. In the new complaint, they put in conspiracy as well as that. So what we're talking about here are two men who asked the police department concerning help on this, told exactly what they were going to do, and they were told multiple times, as he's already testified to, by the way, that this was a civil matter.
Well, I believe what was testified to previously.
Hey, Mike, I'm being texted by my office over and over again. You mind if I
go do what you got to do.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks. So this thing here, I skipped a lot of it, but that's the way they are, and that's ultimately their argument. They say, "Oh, this is a civil matter." Yeah, it's a civil matter until you take her out of the facility and break the law. Then it's kidnapping. Hello.
Hey there. Still
Are
in
you
the car, but not driving. Don't worry, not driving.
You're still in the car?
Yeah, we're gonna go to my sister's last basketball game, and it's an hour away. Super excited about driving, but I love her and her team, so I'm doing it. But yeah, so I'm waiting for the kids to get their chores done. So I didn't want to leave you hanging. But I want to say something about this though, because I was listening as I was driving home. I'm gonna assume that there is not a medical patient advocate or some sort of document that mom created giving somebody the ability to speak for her if she were incapacitated. Is that accurate?
No, the next witness is his sister. They were once co-administrators, and then he got pulled from it for whatever reason. But this is well litigated, and he simply does not have authority to go get her.
Gotcha. I mean, I guess so that people understand, it made it sound like she is there against her will, and this company, whatever. The company is just like keeping her against her will, and nobody can go and get her, and imprisoning her in the facility, which is, I guess, probably what the defendant is trying to claim in some way. Like, my mom would not have wanted to be in this facility if I could go get her and have her come live with me or something to that effect. So anyway, this is a prime example of why you do your estate planning, you do your medical patient advocate, and name somebody to have the ability to sign you out against medical advice if that point comes to where you are at a facility and you're not able to verbalize it yourself. You've got to have somebody in line to do it. And when siblings don't agree on things.
I don't know if you'll be able to do it. I have my probate guru, Sue Kelleher is her name. And I think we're going to do it Saturday. It's the next witness, and it's shorter, but it's his sister. and that's
Ooh,
where they
that'll
get
be
to all
interesting.
the probate issues in the case.
Yeah, because you
And
said like, oh, they opened an estate, and to me, like, what the terminology that we use. Don't talk, please. The terminology that we use is, if you're opening an estate, like a decedent's estate, it's because there's, somebody has died. Whereas if you are going to get an order that you get to pick the
okay,
care facility and whatever, then
I
it's a
may be
guardian.
sloppy. It might be a guardianship. See, this is why
You
I have
are.
you and I know
Stop.
you know a bunch about it too. It may
Yeah,
be a guardianship. I call them all estates. Okay, there's someone's in charge of her. She has Alzheimer's. She can't make decisions.
Gotcha.
And I think they either call them well, it depends on what you're doing. Either administrator or guardian if they're still alive, but incapable. But she is not in charge of her own affairs.
Gotcha.
So that's what's going on here. Oh, it's too bad. I wanted you to hang out with Dereck a little bit too. He's
I know. I got to see for like 0.2 seconds. I like glanced over. I'm like, oh God, he's got somebody else in there too. And then I realized it was him. Like, I can't really like interact when I'm driving. So anyway, really planned out well. This quick text message before my workday started, and then not checking it was not the best course of action for me. So.
I know. I checked the end of the day just on the call. Like, no, I wasn't looking for material. I wasn't.
Sure
I'm just
you were.
like, I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
you
I'm
were.
like, because we had been texting. Okay. And I'm like, is Debbie gonna be able to do this? So I go on there, and you're in some horrific thing at the end of the day, and whatever. Judge wants to wait for. He's like, this defendant always shows up, and you're like, shoot me now.
Yeah, like, are you sure? Can we just leave?
I mean, there was nothing
Yeah.
going on, but I'm like, I don't know if she'll be able to make it.
Yeah, and I had a thing that I've been working on, a warrant request, and the staff every day, is that one done yet? So I'm like, I'm finishing this. And so I stayed and finished it. And then it was like, 5:09. I'm thinking I'm doing good. Get home, like, oh, he is actually doing this today and is expecting me there. Oopsie. So, such is my life.
No worries. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
And who was it? Arty too. Although I think you were only on for like 2 seconds with Arty. We were on something together. You were on that crazy stream that everybody was on.
Yes.
He popped in beforehand too, but he was literally like, he was walking to his car. I'm like, okay, well, people are commuting.
Everybody's so excited to be on here. We just drive around with you playing and walk around with you playing. So, and now
Stop driving a car.
Yeah, stop driving a car. I mean,
I won't show it because it's bad, but I did enjoy the bad Photoshop suggesting that that Judge Middleton and I were hanging out on vacation.
I mean, stranger things have happened. I would not put it past you two to end up somewhere the same place. I mean,
for all I know, he was in St. Croix too. But I didn't see him.
I don't.
All
think
right.
He was, but
well, sounds good. I will check in with you. Maybe if you can be around Saturday. I don't even know when that is yet, but I was going to do that one because the next witness is really fun.
If you're thinking Saturday evening, I could do that because Saturday I'm actually lawyering during the day with some clients that I know.
Saturday evening, I've got some serious nutty adventures planned.
Oh, Saturday afternoon.
No.
Saturday afternoon, I have.
It's all a front. It's all a front.
Yeah, we're gonna launch a new series on mine. It's called Sharing Good Times, and I'm gonna explain why it's called that. And we are gonna have a girls' day adventure in the afternoon. If
cool.
all goes well. So I'll do a little trailer for it.
We had that discussion today too. I have guilt about dragging you into the Glenn Serio scenario.
Yeah, thanks for like.
Yeah. We got to get you some videos on some peppier topics than that.
Yeah,
but it did work.
There's got to be something better than that in the world to deal with. But yeah, I mean, people liked it, obviously, so I'm not gonna throw shade at it. But let's use our legal minds for really important things. Not him, right? Well, I have 3 little goblins in here.
Go do what you got to do.
Games. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'll check in, see if you're doing anything tonight. You live stream all sorts of weird times, so you never know what we're gonna find.
Never know. All right.
All right. Well,
Good
thanks
night.
having
Thank
me
you for
like
coming
5
by.
Seconds. Yeah, no problem. We'll catch you next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Was simply some steps that were taken in order for this witness to return phone calls. Now, I believe the question is related to what this witness believes someone else told potentially the defendant. So on that basis, I think that is hearsay.
Well, could I just respond and I'll let it. Your Honor, he is the person that is directing the other people to do this. He is the one that is the deputy chief who is directing down the chain for ultimately Sergeant Hannafin to make those statements, which we will obviously get into, as we all know, as we go down.
And I think he can certainly speak to what he had others do on his behalf, but not necessarily what those others may or may not have told someone.
Okay. Did you direct these people to inform?
Now, Your Honor, may I respond? We just had a very long narrative,
All right.
sort of closing argument type response.
You may, but
to my
again,
objection.
in that vein, let's keep it
Right.
tight to the objection.
It's still hearsay. It is still hearsay, and now it's brought in the issue of his client's own state of mind is always off limits in terms of hearsay unless the defendant himself is saying the word. So it's we have like 4 levels of hearsay.
Correct,
here.
and Mr. Stiggy, I just ruled that it was
Right.
hearsay.
And so the issue of what he had others do on his behalf also gives to hearsay, and I would suggest the court limit its ruling to what was the order given? What order was given to subordinates as to the subject at hand?
And I believe that's what I am limiting it to. Again, he can testify as to what he had others do, but not potentially the others may or may not have said or things of that nature. But he can testify to what steps he asked others to take.
Did you in fact ask other individuals at the Reno Police Department to meet with Mr. Hillygus?
I did.
And did you advise them that you had already spoken to Mr. Hillygus?
I did.
And did you also advise them that you had already told Mr. Hillygus that this was a civil matter and the Reno Police Department was not going to get involved?
Unless any new information came to light, yes.
Okay, so you did tell them that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and to the best of your knowledge, you're directors of the
Well, that's basically it. I cut some of that. It got a little crazy, although fun. I mean, we kicked this off with Dereck and his sweet daughter, and then Debbie came by. Would have been nice if Arty would have made it. He was here beforehand, but I'm trying to get through all this. But they just so repetitive and slow on some of these witnesses. The next one it's on the same video, but I've seen the next witness goes a little better. I like it in terms of pace. This was interesting, just seeing what they're trying to do, and actually, Dereck shed some light on it for me. But the way I see this case so far, and I might change this because I'm literally not going ahead. I'm doing one video at a time. But the way I see this right now, this is entirely a probate matter. Are you guardian or administrator of the estate? Whatever probate term you want to use, I'll have Sue or Deborah make sure that I'm straight on that. But do you have legal capacity to speak on her behalf? Oh, Arty, what's up, brother?
I like how Debbie and I constantly miss each other
Ships
right at
past
the
the
last
night.
moment. Yeah,
You guys might be the same person.
maybe, kinda, possibly.
Oh, well, I just blew through it now. I had Dereck and Debbie and there's all this stuff, but all right. So I know you did one deep dive video so far.
Right.
How
And
many of those you're gonna do?
I don't know if, to be honest, because you've been going through them, I don't know if I was going to go further. As a matter of fact, what what you just provided was what I was planning on going through next. But as you know, there's like 8, 9, 10, 11 parts to this entire trial before trial that you had to sift through and condense all the boring stuff to put it together. And I hadn't had the time to do that yet.
Right.
So I think ultimately,
Well, I
I
felt
don't know
bad
if I'm going to go further.
I felt bad because you kept coming on here and I wanted to go, and then the one you did, the night you did it, I was like flying to St. Croix. Literally, like I had to take an Uber at 3:00 in the morning to O'Hare.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't,
Right.
Although it's not like you invited me either, but
Well, I mean, I would have wanted you, but I didn't even see you go on there. All right.
No, I get it. So, no, there's definitely. I found out more as I've been doing this stuff. But that's the challenge, because the story is good. So I want to go through all of it, but you have to. It's a lot of work on this end, to try to pare it down.
Yeah.
This particular video was 2 hours long. I mean, I split it by witness because this is so long, but most of them aren't that long.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, if anything, I'm probably going to have to add to my Kim Blandino saga before I go talk to about Mr. Hillygus. At least in the sense that I'm probably not going to be updating until the next court hearing for Mr. Hillygus, which is like the beginning of March.
I don't know what I'm going to do with Kim Blandino, because he starts March 1st.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can't. I think it's really cool, but I can't do the Nick Rekieta. I'm clearing my schedule and watching this thing for 50 hours next week.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I can't do that either. You know, I have a day job, right?
Nor would you really want to, only because they're going to do jury selection, and he's going to prattle on. There's going to be great moments.
Oh yeah, but you gotta cut them out, right? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of great stuff in between the monotony of trial practice.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to do. It's hard to know what to do with that. I mean, I'd kind of like to, but then I'd also lose my mind, because
Yeah. Well,
and all the boring parts, it's like I've been doing that for 25 years. I know what it's like.
Right. But that's why
Having
you're here,
said
though,
that, there's
for the
no
audience.
way. There's no way that Kim Blandino can go to trial and there aren't some fantastic nuggets that happen
of course.
during that trial.
Oh, you know that. Oh, of course.
I mean,
he's going to go on a pedestal and talk about the wide-ranging levels of corruption in the 8th Judicial District.
Oh,
and
yeah.
not even bother talking about the case at hand.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for the objections.
And when the judge said, "Oh, I'm gonna let him testify narrative," which actually makes sense given what he was doing. So I don't think it's a bad ruling. It makes sense to let him have his day in court, let him go up there and battle. But like, he will, if you let him, he'll go for days.
Oh no, he'll try to filibuster, of course.
But within that, there's going to be some fun stuff. There is. But you never know where it's going to be. But that's what I'm most looking forward to, is him taking the stand.
Yeah. And
just starting, straight up with God knows what. Just conspiracy theory stuff. Well, thank you for coming by. It still makes it more fun.
True.
You got a stream starting in a little bit.
Yes. In about half an hour, I'll be going through a, as of yet, unheard, unseen traffic stop of a right to travel individual who was apparently he was stopped in the middle of engaging in a conference call with his private member association, which I don't know if you've heard of these folks before. It's like these groups of people who believe that if they join a private member association, that sometimes they sell this shit, that they absolve themselves of being associated with the state that they're in, and therefore don't have to follow any.
It's an alternative to citizenship, right?
Yeah, I'm not a citizen of the state of New Jersey. I'm a member of this private club, and we have our own laws, etc. So they get to listen in, and so they try to interject themselves into the traffic stop, which is great. So that's why I find it
fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go over there and check it out.
Yeah, so definitely check it out.
So everybody go over there. That sounds like a good stream, and I won't ask for sources, but that sounds like a hot video.
Oh, that's right. The source of it is I found myself to becoming a member. No, I wanted to give you my source. I have clandestinely introduced myself into a sovereign citizen guru's Telegram group. And so they just spread all of their bullshit with each other. And this morning, one of them happened to link to the video. And I clicked on it like, Oh, this is excellent. And it's only got like 120 some odd views, so I know nobody's heard of it yet. I've already sent it to the van, so he's probably going to showcase it himself. But yeah, I got
that's
first
awesome.
dibs. So.
That's awesome. I look forward to it. Go.
All
Get ready.
All right.
I'm going to read a couple super chats, but get ready. I'm going to go over and check out your stream later.
All right. See you guys.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Later.
All right. Let me run through the super chats here. Well, that was a crazy one. It was kind of fun. I don't know. You really had to be a law nerd to go through that, but you certainly had a pile of attorneys. We had we had Dereck, me, Deborah, Arty. 4 licensed attorneys right here on Law Talk with Mike. All right, let's do this thing. And I do the next witness is actually good, and the audio's on it is better, and I think it's the guts of the case. So I think that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna do that sometime Saturday, I think. Where are we here? Some old dude. 1/2 for the pups. 1/21 for Mike's Naughty Fun. Oh, 1/2 for Mike's Naughty Venture Fund. Thank you, some old dude. Ann Larson. Did you drain Mike's Naughty Fund on the beach? No, I was not. It was Mike's G-rated spa adventure retreat. It was just me and Jack hanging out by the pool, mostly. It really was, and it was a beautiful, beautiful event. But I was on my best behavior. I didn't mean to be, but I was. Vicky DeVitt, I just tuned in. What's this case about? Well, it's a guy who kidnapped his mother so that the nursing home facility wouldn't drain her money. Is what I'm guessing. Secret Squirrel, 2 pounds. I think I have discovered the cure for insomnia. Oh, I'm sorry to do that to you, Secret Squirrel. Judge is playing Candy Crush. Yeah, that is brutal. This was a main witness for this, and I wanted to develop the case, but I'm like, I don't know what to do. They don't move this along very well. And honestly, it's bad lawyering too. They're not horrible lawyers or whatever, but pacing and getting somewhere with it is part of what you want to do to be persuasive. And this is really sort of just it's kind of they're getting their points, but there's no attempt at creating a story out of it. It's just brute force, slow, methodical, very blocky. Yeah, Dereck is fun, and the surprise guest was Dereck's daughter from the start of the video. It was pretty cute. And thank you, Anne. Neural simulation. I object. Leading the witness to end the stream. Yep. That's what we had to do. Tessa, I don't know. Love you. Oh, okay. That's nice. 1 year. Thank you very much. Or live you. I don't know. LYYV. I don't know. Thank you. All right. That covers it. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it.